And in fact, President Joe Biden, on his visit to Israel, has said that Egypt's president has agreed to open the Gaza border crossing to allow for 20 trucks with humanitarian aid to flow across. Now, Biden has made these comments on board the Air Force One.
This has been a very blunt negotiation I've had, and so we want to get as many of the trucks out as possible. There's, I guess, 150 or something there. Not all of them will go. The first tranche, if there's a second tranche, see how it goes. The commitment is, if in fact they cross the border, the UN is going to be on the other side and then distributing it, which is going to take a little time to set up probably. But the point being that if Hamas confiscates it or doesn't let it get through or just confiscates it, then it's going to end, because we're not going to be sending any humanitarian aid to Hamas if they're going to come be confiscated. That's the commitment that I've made. And so the bottom line is that El-Sisi deserves some real credit, because he was very accommodating and, quite frankly, as everyone I've spoken to thus far since this trip began.
Now, the United States of America has vetoed a United Nations Security Council resolution that would have called for humanitarian pauses in the conflict between Israel and Palestine to allow for humanitarian aid access to the Gaza Strip.
Colleagues, the United States is disappointed this resolution made no mention of Israel's rights of self-defense. Like every nation in the world, Israel has the inherent right of self-defense as reflected in Article 51 of the UN Charter. Every member state should condemn Hamas's terrorism and cruelty, and every member state should call on Hamas to cease its endless barrage of rockets against Israel.
Now, in fact, labeling the Hamas as a terrorist organization like no other, Israel's permanent representative to the UN, Gilad Erdan, has said that the attack carried out was barbaric and wide-scale terror attack in decades, even bigger than in 9/11.
Council members, what is going on here? I'm truly shocked. I'm horrified. I truly don't understand what is going on here. The most barbaric and wide-scale terror attack in decades, bigger than 9/11, was perpetrated 11 days ago, and it seems like this council has already forgotten. The pictures and footage from the October 7th pogrom are seared into my brain, in every Israeli's brain, forever. But it seems that I must remind some of you of what happened. Although there are some here that choose not to designate Hamas as a terror organization for political reasons, it still doesn't change the facts. Hamas deliberately targets civilians and massacres children when given the chance. This makes Hamas a terror organization, no different than ISIS. They do not believe in dialogue, they don't want a dialogue, not in political solutions. They only believe in exterminating Jews and annihilating the Jewish state. And nothing can change their genocidal ideology.
All right, so that is Gilad Erdan, who's speaking at the UN. Now, the US also, interestingly, has vetoed a resolution which would essentially have asked for a pause in the conflict between Hamas and Israel for humanitarian aid to flow through. This comes even as Israel, of course, has called the attack and the incursions that were made by Hamas terrorists into Israel as being bigger than 9/11.